7:15. Tent's packed up, backpack's on, all the morning necessities taken care of. Sun is up. Would have liked to have been hiking 15-20 minutes ago, but oh well. Headed north this way. Supposed to be a difficult climb this morning. The trail starts off with something of a bang. This is it. This is about level, and it's going up. Steep. So far it's been tough. Continuing up and north and a lot of rocks. Still hiking up. This is less than an hour into my hiking day. But, you know, I've seen it through the trees for the whole way up, but this is the first chance I've gotten to kind of look where I thought I could get a decent picture. It was in the 30s this morning. I'd say it's passing up through the 40s pretty quickly right now. Sun's out and bright. Calm, as you can see. Unfortunately, this pretty much yesterday, most of yesterday and today, were compass-wise, we're hiking south, even though we're hiking north on the AT. That's why you can see this is kind of to the south, which is the direction I'm going in on the trail. And the sunrise is over in this direction to the east, so can't even shine it around much to the north of it. You can see a couple of pretty good sized mountains over there. Heading north, kinda. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So the top one says Appalachian Trail North and Dragon's Tooth parking area. And to be honest, the arrow seems to point like you're supposed to jump off the cliff. In fact, you go over that first rock and there's a little path that goes down along the edge of the cliff. Sounds like it's going to be a blast. It's supposed to be one of the hardest sections. Dragon's Tooth is 0.1 in that direction. 4.2 back to Pickle Branch Shelter. That's near where I got water yesterday. I got to go up to Dragon's Tooth, the 0.1. I won't be climbing up on it or anything, but got to go. So this is Dragon's Tooth. It's described as a stone monolith. There's actually a lot of rocks sticking up in the air right here. But that's the distinctive one that got itself a name and made into an attraction of sorts, if you will. One comment is I saw no viable campsites north of where I camped until I actually got up to the trail junction there, 0.1 back. Obviously there's places here where you could camp. It's all sandy, but I don't know what kind of luck you'd have driving a tent stake. There's a lot of rock here, but still could camp here for sure. It's a big open area right here behind Dragon's Tooth. The trail comes down. The trail coming down is real steep, but the 0.1's probably accurate. You can see somebody's had a little fire built right here behind the rock, turned it black, left on the ground. But I'm not going to go out here too far like I know a lot of people do. But you can see there's Dragon's Tooth, and there's the beyond. Oh yeah, this is coming down from Dragon's Tooth. I just came down that way. I'm on the path. The path down there, if you look over the edge here, comes up this way. This is the trail right down through there. They do provide a couple of pieces of hang-on steel there. Headed up. It took me a few minutes to get down through here. And there may be more to come. I don't know. But I went very slowly and very carefully. It appears, for at least a little bit, to get better. This is headed north. Let's see what happens. I got to admit, it would be easier without a pack. Came down through there. And I got to go. Now I'm going up again. I'm going up this way. I'm sure there's another down. So, just came down through here. Have a little obstacle. A couple hours into my hiking day, I've probably only gone maybe about a mile. That was a tough climb up to Dragon's Tooth and a tougher time coming down. Got another up right here. I'm going up that way. I don't know whether it's going to turn challenging or not, or just an up. Just a pretty picture with those the leaves just coming out and the mountains in the background. But take it. This is on the trail if you're headed southbound up to Dragon's Tooth. Yeah, no such marking if you're coming the other way. It just happens. But you work your way into it with a lot of rocks to get there. So that's south, headed down still. Northbound's this way. The trail seems to be getting a bit better. Met a couple people a minute ago that said, yeah, you're almost the end of the really rocky section. And they were asking how it was ahead. And yeah, I was honest. Heading north. So it's Dragon's Tooth Trail. Big parking lot down there. Privy, supposedly with toilet paper, running water in the area, and it's not far from the CATAWBA grocery store where guys go to get beer and pizza. So that one's that way. The AT South goes up the hill that way to Dragon's Tooth. It's I think 0.7 to Dragon's Tooth. Yeah, 0.7 to Dragon's Tooth. And this is Lost Spectacles Gap. I don't know how many campsites here, lots and lots. 2 big fire rings, some big grassy areas. Lots of place to camp here. And then the application trail heads north in that direction. One more rock obstacle after Spectacle Gap. Trail just comes right down over it. It's a challenge with pack on. It's south of me now. So I'm headed north. It's pretty country. It's trying to get down a little bit, obviously. So this is Virginia 624. Newport Road, I think is the name of the road. Downhill going that way. I think it's Route 311, the more main road. Go down and hang a left. Probably a third of a mile to CATAWBA Groceries. And there's a sign over by where the trail comes down there that says Four Pines Hostel is a third of a mile in this direction heading up. I'm not going either place. Still just near that road crossing. One more thing I wanted to mention. I'm only 2.3 miles from Dragon's Tooth. Mile and a half of that, about a mile and a half of that, I guess, was just, you know, no progress, brutal rock climbing, you know, up and down and around. So there was the last, you know, maybe less than a mile of trail was, you know, pretty much just a typical trail coming downhill. But before, this brook shows on fire out at 705.4, and there's a bridge that crosses it back a little ways. If you go a little bit further, there's a nice stealth site, you know, by the water that would obviously hold a number of tents. Be a good place right near the water for camping. I'm headed north. Kind of good to share this part of the trail. There's 3 of them over there. They're the same pasture I'm in. I came down that way out of the woods. I'm headed, I think this passes into a different pasture, and then you can see an AT sign up there ahead, and then probably up the hills. Headed north. After that last pasture video with the cows, you cross Virginia 785, and then you get a little bit more pasture and a bridge. This is CATAWBA Creek, another water source. And then pretty quick, I know I got a really steep up coming. So, heading north. A good steep uphill pasture walk. And then back into the woods. Still following a steep uphill, but into the woods. Headed north. Okay, 2 o'clock. Last 2 hours. About 2.3 up. Pretty much all up. It's continuing up. That's north, going up the stairs and then up and over the roots and rocks and stump over there. Can't see a ton through the trees, but I wanted to show you what you could. You can see a major road down there. That whole down through the pastures and up, I'm pretty sure we moved from that ridge line over there to this ridge line over here. I mean, that ridge line had Dragon's Tooth on it, and this ridge line's got McAfee Knob on it, is I'm guessing what it comes down to. Leaves coming out fast, as you can see. Then, oh yeah, it's probably obvious. It's gotten a little bit rocky hiking up once you get up to the ridge line. I think I'm near the top. I think I've got a pretty steep rocky down coming up. Probably almost silly to talk about it, but the trail, a lot of it is just kind of full of this dry leaf litter. And you know, as it gets ground up, it gets really slippery. You don't know what's under it either, especially when it starts to get a little bit deeper. And you know, you step down on the dry leaf litter with a slippery rock under it, or you know, just a smooth rock under it, it'll go out. Took me down earlier. Just so it makes me go slower going downhill. Something to be careful about. So this is Route 311, and this is why the shelters may be full. Just less than 2 miles from here. It's a pretty big parking lot with quite a lot of cars. I mean, some of them have probably gone the other way, maybe. But the big attraction here is McAfee Knob. That big 15-passenger van alone could fill up a shelter and then some. So the AT goes that way. We'll post over there across, headed north. And I'm headed north. As I thought it might be, the trail leading up to McAfee Knob is pretty well groomed and pretty well worn. Lots of stairs rather than just rough climbing. I've seen, I think, 5 groups headed down and 1 headed up. And the 3 people headed up did not have overnight gear, so well, my hopes in the shelter are better. Apparently there's a lot of day hikers up there heading down. Heading north. This is John's Spring Shelter. Right off the trail. Says it has good water. But I'm pushing on. Another mile or plus, a little over, to the next one. Maybe it's just a mile, I don't know. I want to get to the next shelter. Trail's that way. There's a good up and a good down between here and there. Gets me close to the McAfee Knob, and there's another reason. Maybe I'll explain it later. Heading north. Just arrived at CATAWBA, I guess it is, shelter. I was afraid there'd be no space. There's nobody here. Just had 2 hikers hike by me. There's campsites up further. They got a bear box. They got a brandy new picnic table. I'm gonna zoom out here. Brandy new picnic table, bear box over there. There's a privy up there on the hill between the two. I gotta figure out the water situation. I don't know where water is. Spring water supposedly that way, it says. So I'll go down and check it out. But I'm staying here, so I'm gonna kind of sweep out my spot. I can see a couple tents set up. There's tent sites up beyond. So an extra hour past, basically, well, 45 minutes, 50 minutes past the last shelter. It gives me a little bit longer day. I'd like to get to doing 12-hour days, and you know, that would have been really short. Started at 7:30, so this one's, you know, 11 and a half hour day, whatever. Gives me better mileage, takes it off them, and this was a tough hike. 50 minutes to go a mile is kind of rough. It takes that off my legs for the morning, so I should have better legs climbing up to McAfee and beyond.